Hi there, this is Dr. J, and welcome to 5-Minute Fridays. And my background is in human performance and applied sports science, along with a doctorate in sport and performance psychology. This series is going to be an opportunity for us to go deeper into themes that involve both sides of my expertise, from sport and performance themes through physiology, through training methods and approaches, all the way through mental skills and learning how to work with those and implementing them into your training and daily life, in addition to team and interpersonal skills as dynamics that we deal with. This week's episode of our 5-Minute Friday, we are going to cover what it means to define sport performance from both sides, the psychology side as well as the performance side, where we're dealing with more physical training. As we're thinking about performance and in a sport context specifically, we think a lot about like the actions that it involves, the activities, right? And a lot of times when we think about performance, we're thinking about performance from the end of being successful, right? And so we're thinking about performance as being the successful completion of a skill, the successful completion of a game, the successful completion of a practice or a training session that's intended to provide some specific benefit, right? And so when we're working through these performance pieces, as we continue to have access to them, as we continue to have a regularity or consistency within our schedule, we're able to optimize them, right? And from performance, we're able to achieve higher performance, right? And from that place of performance, we're able to look more towards the optimization, right? And optimization is where I'm heavily interested, right? We've got all these approaches, we have all these opportunities, we have all these different ways, we have all these different sports that we're looking at. But the part that is engaging for us, the part that encourages science, the part that encourages the research behind it is the optimization piece, right? And before we get deeper into looking at like what this could entail or how this could build, let's take a look at how these things can come together and how sport and performance is really this multidisciplinary perspective and intersection of all these different fields coming together to create this awesome medley. If you're able to, please take a second to pause this chart that I'm about to pull up. This is coming from the Petosa article that I posted. It was dated from 1996, but there's something very specific that I liked about this article, and it was this performance model that it had included. And so an important note about it is this individual wrote about how things were being run at the Air Force Academy at the time. All right, so this is 1996. All right, what year is it? It's 2022 right now. All right, so in 4 years, this article is going to be 30 years old, and we're not quite in a place where every higher level education opportunity has a model that fits like this, right? So at the very top, we've got coaches and athletes, and then from there, everything goes into this continuum, right? It's a circle, so that means that there's equal weight within this situation, and all of these components, all of these personnel matter in creating an optimized environment for sport performance. So let's take a little bit deeper of a look at who's included, right? We've got strength and conditioning. We've got sports medicine, which typically includes athletic trainers and our sport doctors, all right? We've got sports nutrition, our dietitians, all right? Sports psychology, which is a whole nother component. They could be psychologists, they could be counselors, all right? And then we've got our consultants that bridge that kind of performance gap, right? And then they have sport vision as another component, and that piece includes like the visual training component. And depending on where you're at, there might be some sports psychologists that are using the vision training, and there might be some strength and conditioning or more performance-based coaches that are using the vision training as well, right? And so that's a very eye, hand, and mental component to building into that acuity that can translate into optimized performance, right? And then from there, depending on what athletic group you're working with, there are going to be special concerns, all right? So when we're working with athletes where weight is a priority within their sport, there's going to be different things that we need to look for as a coaching staff, as personnel, as a teammate, as an individual athlete within ourselves, right? And knowing what we're working towards, how to work towards that safely, and how do we build an environment around that is conducive for high performance, but also comes with the benefit of understanding the importance of good mental health, right? And creating a balance, all right? And when I'm talking about balance, I'm not talking about like there's equal parts of your life that are devoted to different things, right? Depending on the type of athlete that you are, depending on the type of coach, and I'm talking from a level standpoint, different levels within sport require different levels of commitment. And so that balance can look a little bit different, but the balance comes with the understanding that mental health is a priority, right? And that physical health is a priority. And those things are not separate, right? And this wheel only goes to further show that, all right, our nutrition, so mind, body, spirit, right? We got to be right on all of these levels in order to be able to perform in a way that we're building forward. Thinking about the different ways that we may have to work due to a budget restriction, right? Some of the personnel might be on a part-time basis, or they might be contracted through a hospital or another part of campus, right? And so we may have to get creative on how we build this wheel, but this is just an example of a way that we can optimize, and I really liked it because it included so many different components, right? So as we consider this entire perspective and everything that we've just covered in this short clip here, the biggest takeaways are that sport performance is a multidisciplinary and holistic arena that allows us to take these multifaceted components of performance and try to get them to bridge together to create this bond and create this opportunity for higher performance, right? And that could be improving a stat from a specific sport, right? If there's a record that can be broken, or is there a game that can be won by creating a better link between these different components and allowing our athletes to grow, build better, right? Because at the heart of sport performance was the intent to reduce injury and to rehabilitate, right? And at the heart of research is finding a way to explain the things that are happening or explaining a way to make things happen, right? And then the flip of it is we're looking at our coaches and our athletes that are going out there to execute and enact these actions, right? And so each part of this chain, so to speak, provides an important component that will only continue to grow, right? So as you're part of this wheel, whether that's the athlete side, the person going through it, the coach that's working through it, someone who's part of the support staff, but still within this circle, the more that we listen together and the more that we build together, the greater opportunity that exists for everyone involved. So now let's look at it from a different angle. So say you're somebody who's not in the academic setting. You might not be a collegiate athlete, all right? You might be interested in this to build towards those things, or you might be interested in this as you look at building towards lifelong fitness and creating a means for you to build yourself mentally, physically, the whole, right? The whole part of yourself. And so the encouraging piece is that certifications for a whole as personal training, whether that's through NASM, the NSCA, ACE, all of those have improved as far as what they are looking for from the individuals that are certified, right? And so that provides a whole nother level of security for those that might be interested in that, right? And trying to figure out and navigate that. If you're training on your own as an individual, another piece of concern is to listen to your body, all right? If you are working with someone, communicate with that individual about how your body is feeling, and that is a way that you can safeguard yourself and eventually go towards a more optimized performance for yourself. And not only that, but creating a consistent schedule for yourself, and that'll come through various means, and your consistent schedule might look different, right? The purpose that you're working out for may change what a consistent schedule looks like because your goals are different, right? And just being aware of those things. Thank you for watching our first 5-Minute Friday. Join us on our next 5-Minute Friday as we look at accountability as a skill and building habits to improve ourselves. And in case you forgot, always be refined by the grind.